Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Siege of Avalon. We're going to begin by looking into these chests, and we see there's quite a number of items here, and we can transfer the items from the chest to our inventory and back again. However, we won't really need any of these items. Most of them are fairly unimpressive in their statistics, and rather samey actually. It's just to allow your character to change the color of his clothes at the beginning of the game, so we're going to continue on. Once we leave, we're immediately accosted by a page of the castle. He informs us that we need to go and see a man named Captain Avarice immediately for training. We'll be doing that eventually, but first we're going to go ahead and work on one of the most important things of any computer RPG, and that is side quests. First side quest you find is to find these two items in a chest here, and yes, this is one of those games where you're allowed to root through people's personal belongings without any sort of consequence. We found a dried rose that adds 5 to our charisma, which is good for bartering for items and buying and selling at good prices, and a private love letter from home addressed to one of the soldiers here in the castle. We'll be taking both of those for now, and we'll be heading over to the center of the first floor. Here we find a number of people. The only one of significance is the man named Madden, and he'll have lamented his loss of a rose and a letter from his girlfriend back home. This is of course the one we found, and returning it to him is of the utmost importance. You'll find that Kent was the one to have stolen it, but we're not really going to get into the details of that just yet. We're just here for the training points. Here's the Quartermaster that we were supposed to talk to. All he gives us is a dagger. He doesn't really give us that much, but he does suggest we go talk to a man named Lauren in the outer keep, or rather the southern gate. The type of items that you get depend on what your beginning class was. The mage only gets a dagger, whereas the scout would receive a hunting bow, a quiver, and a leather jerkin, and the warrior would receive a longsword and a piece of leather armor. This isn't really important. You can find very similar items once you're out in the field. Another person of significance here is the mage Elrath, one of the local wizards here in the castle. Talking to him, we are able to learn a few more things about magic, and this is one of the first NPCs that gives us specialized training. Specialized training is very important because it allows you to get lots of points in your primary and secondary statistics at a very low cost. You can see here the first one, called Magecraft, gives you 1 perception, 2 mysticism, and +2 recharge rate for 5 points. If you try to get those same statistics using the normal level up method, it would cost a lot more than 5 points. So even if you don't think the stats are particularly relevant to you, you should probably get all the specialized training you can find in the game, and there's quite a lot of it. So we're going to go ahead and pick up all this specialized training, and here we find we also have 4 spells. Flame spell, a frost spell, a heal spell, and a hold spell. All of these are very good, and we're going to want them all. So we're going to go ahead and grab them. All of them do exactly as you might expect that they'll do. The hold spell in particular holds your enemies for a certain amount of time, and is probably one of the most powerful spells in the game just because it's so hard to resist and so very devastating. So we're glad we picked those up, and having done that, we're pretty much done with this floor of the castle for now, so we're going to go ahead and head downstairs. First thing we're going to do is we're going to head up here to the infirmary, and we're going to find that one of the monks here has yet another quest for us, Brother Mo. And he would like us to find a number of supplies, a special herb that can be found outside the castle walls. Fortunately, we don't have clearance to leave the castle just yet, but we'll look into that eventually. Over here we find a barracks for the soldiers, and any good barracks has equipment we can pilfer. Oh, and yes, the mage Elrath saw fit to give us a spellbook, which adds +5 to our mana, so we'll definitely be equipping that. And here we found a monk robe, which gives us fairly better statistics than our shirt. So we're going to be putting that on and heading on our way. In this chest we find, what's this? Ah, a piece of rusty chainmail. It's quite good statistics, but it also reduces our stealth and our defense. That's not so great, but seeing as we're a squishy mage, we don't really care about stealth all that much. We'd rather be better protected, so we'll go ahead and put that on too. Now the interesting thing about this is that restriction only affects a few things: your ability to equip certain items and your ability to cast spells. However, I'm not exactly sure what the maximum restriction you can have before you can cast a spell. All I know is that I've never reached it, so we're going to go ahead and put on whatever items we find. Coming over here is the next quest we'll have, which is also the first combat we'll have. We'll talk to one of the kitchen hands named Bonnie, and she'll lament at the existence of a number of beasts down in the storage facility, or the pantry, if you will. And we talk to the head chef, Honora. She has more information on the subject, and she asks if we'd be willing to go downstairs and handle it for her. So we're going to press the space bar, get out our little knife, and go down and handle this for dear Bonnie. And we come downstairs, and we're immediately accosted by these little cockroach creatures called a water beetle. And we're going to go ahead and clear those up for her. We're going to try to use our charge spell. Now, the thing about combat in this game is that there's really no reason not to wait between each battle, as your health and mana recharge on their own. But for the purposes of this LP, I'm going to have to pick up the pace a little bit, just to make sure that the videos don't get unmanageably long. So we're going to go ahead and try to clear out this area. The unfortunate thing would be if we happen to miss one, because that means we would have to go back down and I'd waste quite a lot of time. As you can see, we're not doing too well. We're not quite good at fighting just yet, but we're going to try our best. As you can see, we've taken quite a lot of damage from these little critters, so we're going to have to be a bit more careful now. Try to take them out as best we can with our spell before they get a chance to hit us. But as you can see, we're also running out of mana, which is not a good thing. And unfortunately, we have such a low mana stock that we won't really be able to cast the heal spell very often, at least for the time being. So we're probably going to have to struggle through this as best we can. Fortunately, the AI in this game isn't particularly good, and we can sort of sneak away from the enemies and shoot them and sneak away again. They're not really that fast or that clever, so we're going to just sort of snipe them this way and hopefully win out. Oops, hopefully win out. As you can see, life for a low-level mage is not the most dignified or the most elegant, but it's the only life we have, so I guess we'll have to live it. Sure, and hope that one day we will ascend to greater pastures of untold magical power. Hopefully that day is sooner rather than later, but one can never be sure. So it looks like we've cleared out just about all of them. See if there's any stragglers left over, and finish them off. Oh, there's one. So I'll go ahead and take care of him. And I don't like this mission because every time I do it I always miss a few and end up having to come back, so I'm going to make sure I get them all this time. Oops, went upstairs. Go back down. If anyone's wondering, this game does not behave very well on a modern system, and it is very hard to screen capture. I actually had to capture it on a virtual machine. It was the only real way I could do it. The full screen capture does not work in the slightest for whatever reason, so this is the best I could manage, unfortunately. Now I think I've cleared out everything in the dungeon, so we're going to go ahead and end the video here. Hopefully everything's dead, and if it isn't, we can always come back. Thank you, and see you next time.